This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
They say everything happens for a reason, but I suspect everything happens for a Reese's. Like this commercial break. Did you need 15 seconds away from music or 15 seconds to eat a Reese's? Perhaps it's true. Everything happens for a Reese's.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coach Unplugged. I'm so happy you decided to join us. Before we jump in, I don't do this every week, but I would love if you went over, left a review, left a comment. I listened to all of those. Give me some topics. Send over to steve@teachhoops.com. What kind of topics do you want to hear? But before we jump into today's topic, I'd like to give a big shout out to our two sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the number one shooting machine on the market. I've tried them all, and this is not only how innovative are, but the workouts and what I love about Dr. Dish is they give back to the community. If you follow them on Facebook, if you follow them on Twitter, they're always giving back to the basketball community. And you mentioned Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $450 off. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It is a one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's resources, it's handouts, it's videos, it's one-on-one calls, it's office hours. It's a coach. It's a resource run by a coach for a coach. It's not an ex-coach, not someone that's been let go, not someone that's coaching part-time. This is what I do. And Teach Hoops helps me keep the bills on. He helps me put up these podcasts, 13 podcasts a week. Teach Hoops helps me be able to do that. And it's a roadmap for you to be successful. And let me help you in this great journey that we call coaching. But let's head off to the podcast.
Talking about preseason X's and O's. So during the preseason, what are your approaches to offense and defensive talk with yourself as a coach and with your other coaches on staff?
So I do this a lot. I think it was last week or the week before I was talking to you about, I get in. We meet monthly almost talking about X's and O's. So it's kind of like my business model. I'm always looking to tweak and I'm never quite satisfied. And the only reason I stop is because the season starts. If you'd asked me what we were going to do X's and O's in June, and then if you'd asked me 3 days ago, they would not be the same. Because we had a meeting about a week ago and we tweaked some things. We saw some things over the summer. We saw some things with players. We saw some things statistically that we looked at over the summer, which I'm not going to share for a billion people to hear because I think it will be helpful for us. But so that we're gonna try to exploit. So I think the preseason X and O is huge because, and here's the issue: is we're not college coaches. We don't get them in October and have 4 weeks with them before our first game. At least most of us don't. We have, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. So I'm on my computer. I'm going to just stop for a second. I'm on my computer right now and we're talking, and on my computer it goes, I get a text message from my son. He goes, "Can I get shots up tomorrow?" Yes, Drew. You can get shots up tomorrow. That's pretty funny. Anyway. A year from now, he won't be in the house, so I got to enjoy those moments. Yes,
enjoy it, Coach.
You can get some shots up. We'll, Dad. But no, I don't know how other coaches. Again, I don't know how other coaches do it. I'd love to hear how you do your XO preseason. But we map it out. This is where we were talking about, a month ago about that course I put on T-Troops, we map it all out. We map the first 2 weeks out to practice and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. I think you have to spend time on this. Yes, you have to have a philosophy. Yes, you have to have a motto. But this X and O thing is really big over here, because you got to be able to have a foundation of what you want and then be able to branch off of that as the season goes on.
Yeah, I agree with the whole idea of building a foundation. So to be honest with you, we've made huge adjustments lately because we had two players leave our conference to go to prep school. So our conversation has been a lot greater. We're like, wow, the conference is wide open now. We don't have to worry about this team. So our conversation is completely different.
Right.
So we met like the next night, like, it's a whole breath of fresh air. You're like,
you lost at least one lottery pick NBA draft choice. Let's be real.
And so that for coaches, it just gets you riled up, and you're like, what can we do? What we start talking, and and so we're making constant adjustments and changes, and and then you start to look at things, and you may have a certain offense, but it's not always going to fit your players. You have to make those adjustments. So we're like, you know what? We're really good at this screen. We're going to change this and add this to this because we like this. Well, what happens if we get to this point? Like, you got to make and adjust it the way you want. And then how do you get this to work in an organized fashion, defensively, offensively? What drills are you going to do? It's like making a lesson plan. You don't just teach them algebraic equations. You got to teach them different things before that. It's a whole build on. It's like scaffolding. How are you going to build on what you want them to do by the time they're ready for the first game of the season? So, it goes beyond just saying, all right, if we're going to be a read and react team, how are we going to get them to be really good at it? So we're going to be pack line.
I've been thinking about this because I'm going to talk about this at the Legends Clinic in Atlanta in a couple of weeks. I've been thinking about it because I'm going to talk about some stuff we do and things like this, and how we kind of tackle this. This is one of the reasons I did the preseason course. But you got to backward engineer,
backward design, yeah.
So that's what I do on a regular. I don't even think about it, but it's like, I'm not going to give away a couple of my secrets that we're going to do this season. But let's say we're not going to do this. But let's say we're going to set tons of ball screens. Well, how can I instigate ball screens into drills, into play, into things that we want to do? So you got to figure out what you want, and then you got to backward engineer it to, here's how I can do that in the full court. Here's how I can do it in the half court. Here's how I can do it as a breakdown drill. Here's how I can do it as full.
I guess I can build on that then, what you're talking about. When I was up at college and won the state championship, everything we did was ball screens because we had such good guards. And so literally it was my job and responsibility to design drills and things within it to make our reads right. So what happens if they super hedge? What happens if they cheat on the ball screen? You got to teach them all those reads. How they roll, how can we make it, how can we add layers to within our offense, our full court action? If that's going to be our big thing, that takes time and planning. If you're a transition team, well, heck, you got to do a lot of transition drills. What drills are you going to do?
Right, but how are you going to do the transition drill? How are you going to attack it? Or maybe, I think we were talking about a couple of weeks ago about dribble drive. Like, okay, how are we going to dribble drive? How far are we going to go before we take a shot? Are we not going to take a shot? Are we going to pivot and kick it out for the three? How are we going to attack these things? And then how can I break? I mean, I'm all, the word on the street now is everything's got to be game based and all this reaction stuff. Absolutely. I don't disagree. Kids have to be able to do that. They have to be able to react, and my practices, if you watched in the last 30 years, have had a ton of that. There's also a point where you got to do some skill work. You have to work on footwork. You have to work on, your shot. There's things, how to set a screen. There's specific things that need to be broken down to skills that I think some of the people that are selling this like game-based reading, yes. But if your kids can't 2-foot jump stop and pivot, then you got bigger issues. And there's a lot of coaches that listen to this podcast that need to do skill work as part of their drill work. Running a practice with no drill work, I think, is ludicrous.
I think it's crazy too.
Yeah, it's like you're not you
I'll
haven't
tell you
been.
right now,
Yeah.
the United States soccer program, the U.S. State soccer program, it's all about Game Boys instruction. And guess what? They have not done well, and men's soccer has not done well ever. And so there's got to be that technical and that that whole skill base that needs to be acquired. They're assuming that these kids are doing this stuff at home. That's not the case.
Yes.
Johnny, unless you're Drew and your dad's the varsity basketball coach, and he loves to get shots up, he's going to get 400 shots up. Right. Drew's got a great advantage, and he's taking. He should. I mean, that's a great opportunity for him. But not every kid is going to be working on their left hand all summer. You think that just happens? No, it doesn't.
No, and the thing is, it's like you have to build your practice. That's where your X's and O's have to come into play. And a lot of this stuff is based in science. I agree that kids have to be able to react. They have to be able to do all those things, and you don't know what's going to happen. But from someone that's taught for 30 years, if a kid can't multiply, they can't do algebra. Right. So you have to be able to have it's this part whole part thing that you have to be able to do the fundamentals before you can do. You can't rely on the calculator. You have to understand numbers first before you can do some more hard conceptual stuff. So it's very similar in a basketball and the X's and O's, in my opinion.
And if you take the time, though, Coach, I think you can build drills that focus on fundamentals, but also focus in things within your offense.
Right, so, and the thing is, a good drill. This I 100% agree with. A good drill will work on more than one skill set, and I think that's one of the arguments that they're making is, why do we do 3-man weave? Okay, 3-man weave is an archaic thing. Whatever, I get that. It's not working on a lot of skill sets. Maybe you add a couple other things into your 3-man weave that allow it to be more game based. I 100% agree with that. Good drills will tackle more than one skill set. So that's where the backward engineering is important. A drill, quote unquote, a drill or something you do in practice should be working on several things. And it's, that's why a lot of 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 is in my practice, is if you see it, because the game is really played that way. But yeah, and then going back to the initial question with X's and O's is like, okay, we're going to run man. Okay, great. You're going to run man. What kind of man are you going to run? Or, are you going to run pack? Are you going to run, how are you going to handle screens? Are you going to do this? And to be honest with you, if you start doing this, your head's going to start hurting. Try to keep it as simple as you can. And then you can build off of that, in my opinion.
But you also got to understand, what they do when somebody takes it away?
Right.
Okay, so if we're going to push baseline,
we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to go every possible screen option. We don't. I mean, unless you have a better practice than I do, because I got to work on our offense, I got to work on our defense, I got to get some shots up, I got to work on our footwork, I got to work on our posts, I got to work on. I mean, I don't have 17 hours to do that, so I can't go through every possibility off a screen or a ball screen. So come up with something and say, hey, here's how we're going to handle ball screens. Here's how we're going to handle screens away. Maybe it's switching. Maybe it's hard head. Whatever it is, get good at it and then go on to the next thing. But I mean, I don't know. My guys aren't. I don't have enough time.
That comes down to scout, though, Coach. Like 2-on-2, 3-on-3. Like I like to. I've done in the past. Like, all right, a team loves to run pin downs, man. You do 3-on-3 pin downs, and you just focus on that. That's 2 days. So and
I think that's the key. And that's where we're talking about preseason X's and O's. Go through your league, and Team X is going to be a dribble drive team. Well, what drills can I do that week to work on dribble drive? Wait, this team runs flex. Good, you're going to see the UCLA cut. You're going to see these. How are we going to build? So in your preseason X's and O's, unless it's your first year, most of you probably know the coaches and probably know what they're going to do offensively and defensively. That's where you can map it out. And you're right. Most teams only won't run 1 or 2 types of screens. That's all we got to work on those 2 or 3 days before that game. Hopefully we have prep time. I agree, Coach. That's a really good point.
Okay. I think that it's a big topic, but it's something that's going to help you outline your whole practice plan.
It is. It's gonna feel overwhelming. But then you get Post-its, get a whiteboard, get somewhere where you can just dump, just offense, defense, quick hitters, situation, everything that you can think about that you need to work on, and then just start writing it down. It will look.
You're not doing this in November. You got to be doing it now.
Now. Yep.
Now.
All right.
I mean,
perfect.
Power up now. That's exactly it.
All right. What's our last question?
What is one thing you have done as a coach to get post touches inside?
So that's a good question. We need more. I think post touches are kind of a dying breed, so that's why I kind of like them. Bounce passes. I've taken practices and only let them bounce pass into the post. So it's forced them to get better angles. It tends to be a better pass. There's no air underneath it. So that's one way. As far as getting the actual pass in there, there's things with, actions and coming from short corner to whatever, mid post.
Yeah, I really like the flex screen or the back screen. I think you can get a lot of post touches off that screen.
I do. That roll too. Yep. I was just talking about I took it literally. How do you get the ball into the post?
Well, that's true. But it's the way you look at it. But I feel like some of my guys, even at the varsity level, have a hard time making that pass. Like they're not. It's just not something that they're comfortable with or not very good at doing.
No, and that's where I think you got to do it as almost a breakdown. You got to have them go live. They got to get you got the ball in the wing and you have no dribble. Get the ball into the post kind of thing. They got to feel that pressure of being able to get it in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and then ultimately the person inside's got to learn about positioning and working hard inside.
Yeah, and then what I've noticed with posts too is they get pushed low.
Yes, they get caught under the rim.
I tell them not the block and not the first hash. I said I want you somewhere in between the first hash and the second hash.
Absolutely.
I want them really high because you know what? It's kind of like telling a kid to dribble at their ankles. They'll end up dribbling at their knees.
Right.
If I tell them to get to the second or third hash, I could tell them to get to the elbow and they'd probably be at the block.
Yeah, because if you work on the elbow, you're going to get sucked in the short corner or you're going to get caught in the rim all the time.
It's all the time. All right, till next month, Coach. Then you and I will be real stressed.
You're a head coach. I'm an assistant. I'm not always as stressed as you.
You have the best seat in the house. That's the best seat in the house, man. I'm telling you. I'll take that job when I quit. I'll take that job. Just, hey, go team.
Hey, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, like. We love those. And send me an email, steve@teachhoops.com. Tell me what you want to hear in the future. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. Have a great day.
Booking.com is the easiest way from a day surrounded by noise to a stay surrounded by nature. That's nice. Go on, book it. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
NFL football season is here, which means when you switch to Verizon, it feels like touchdown. Because you get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us when you buy an eligible 5G phone on select unlimited plans, which means you can watch every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. And it's all on us. Now that's the Verizon way to kick off the NFL football season right. Switch and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube on us, only with Verizon.